Welcome back to the channel, man. Today I want to try something on the Blazer. I've been having a problem with the amp, or with the voltage drop on this thing. It seems to me like not only is the battery kind of weak on it, but I'm thinking that the alternator is also weak. Even though it's not completely gone, I think it's just weak. So I want to replace both today to see if it fixes the issue that I see that this thing is having. So we're going to jump in here. I'm going to see if I can't replicate it. For one, it starts really, like, you hear the burp, 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 burp. So I had swapped the battery out on this from my other Blazer. My other Blazer has a brand new battery. It didn't fit in here very well, for one, and for two, it didn't really solve the problem, but it did make it a little bit better putting a new battery. It started a lot easier, and you don't see the voltage drop as drastic, but it's still doing it. So I'm hoping that maybe doing a new battery along with an alternator is going to help. So right now I have absolutely nothing on. The truck is just running, and let me tell you, I always have the air conditioning on. So I'm going to kick the AC on. So right now we are sitting below the 14. So as you guys know, I deleted the clutch fan, so it no longer has a clutch fan. It now has electric fans. So in order to drive, we need fans. Kick those on. You see the voltage drop? Now, of course, if we use our lights, there's the rear lights, front lights. Look at that. Look at how bad that drops down. Now, if I do something like turn a blinker on, it really, really drops down, dude. That is way down there. And of course, with the blinker on, all the lighting, like everything is just fluctuating. If I rev it up, of course it's gonna climb a little. Actually, it doesn't. All right, now I'll go ahead and shut everything off. So blinker off, lights off, fans off, AC off. Of course, it does great with absolutely everything off. But as soon as you put a load on this thing, it cannot handle it. So that's what we're gonna do today, is go ahead and pull that alternator off of there. I'm gonna go swap it out at the auto parts store. And then I want to run to Walmart and grab a battery. I always buy my batteries from Walmart. The batteries that I have bought in from Walmart have done great for me. I have one inside of the Blazer. I have one inside of the Integra. I had one in khaki. There's one inside of the Suburban. I don't have any issues like this with any of those vehicles. So all right, let's get this alternator off of here. And it looks like our belt, well, the tension pulley has a hole in it to put a 3/8 socket in there, just to pry it back and get the belt out of our way. I was gonna disconnect the battery, but I figured, you know, we're gonna put a new battery in it anyway, so I may as well just go ahead and take it completely out. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug a couple of these things so I can move this wiring that's over the alternator out of our way, so we don't have to like pry on it and risk damaging it, getting it out of there. And it looks like we have a bunch of 13mm bolts holding this thing in here. All right, we got a 13 holding our charge cable on. And a clip to unplug. Bang, bang, baby. Alternator is up out of there. All right, we have one 13mm bolt right in the center of our tension pulley. I think I'm gonna take this with me, see if I possibly have one under warranty. If not, I'm just gonna buy a new one because hell, I might be able to just replace the wheel since it comes off. I don't know, the idler pulley doesn't seem too terribly bad. I know I was hearing a noise coming from one of these damn things. All right, well, just leaving O'Reilly's where it is I have the warranty. The guy couldn't find the warranty, so I was just gonna buy one, but I had him test my alternator first. He tested it 3 times, and for whatever reason, it says that the alternator is good. So, I don't know, man. But I know that I noticed a difference in the battery whenever I had the battery from the other Blazer in there. So I think that this battery is definitely weak, but I would still like to put a new alternator. The problem is they won't just warranty it if the alternator that you're bringing in is testing good. So even if I did have warranty, they wouldn't swap it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'm gonna run to Walmart, grab a battery, bling, and then back to the house to put this thing back on there. And we're back at the house. I'm a lot a bit broker now, but it is what it is. So I got a battery for the Blazer, and like I mentioned, I need to get a new battery for the Mustang as well. Currently the Mustang has, it's either Kaki's battery or the battery out of Jessica's Integra, one or the other. I have both of them sitting in the garage because neither one of them need a battery right now, and I put one of them in the Mustang. But anyhow, also got a brand spanking new alternator. Under my research, this is a 105 amp alternator. They do have a 230 amp alternator available, and it was like $380. So maybe that's something I'll do in the future. But yeah, this is they have a 100 amp and 105 amp. This is a 105 amp, so that's the highest amperage I can get for like an OE replacement. They do have a aftermarket, like I said, that's like 250. But also got the belt tensioner, a brand new belt tensioner. But anyhow, back to the battery. They had they had a few available. The cheapest one was $69, so 70 bucks. And then the step up from that was 110. So I got the 110 one because this has 700 cold cranking amps, where the cheaper battery was 550 cold cranking amps. And they did not have the cheap option available for the Mustang. They only had the more expensive 2-year warranty one. So this one was 110 also. So $220 on batteries, $140, $53. Yeah, my wallet hurts. But anyhow, let's get to work, dude. Get this all slapped on here. I'm excited to see if this helps. Oh my God, I hope it does. Oh yes, the very nice. Didn't want to fit in there. I had to get those, a little sliding portion on the bolts. I had to get that to slide to loosen up a little bit. Tension pulley came with a brand new shiny bolt. That's pretty cool. Yes, ma'am. All right, brand new battery, and I got the tie down, the holder in there. I mentioned that because the battery that I had in here out of the other Blazer, it wouldn't fit properly. So now the battery is actually held in nice and tight. I got the cables all ran, got the belt back on, got the new tensioner, new alternator. Now we just have to start it, see if it's still doing the same thing that it was doing before. Fingers crossed, man. Such a simple little thing, just replacing the battery and the alternator, but it has the ability to make a huge difference, and I am really hoping that it made a huge difference. Starts up in one crank, so that's definitely an improvement. And we are instantly going up to 14 volts right now, but that's with everything off, of course. All right, now let's kick the AC on. Dude, that thing didn't even move with the AC. Okay, fans. All right, that made it come down, but look at that. It's coming right back up to 14. Now let's try all the lights. Lights on, lights on. That definitely brought it down, but not as far. Yeah, on the last setup, it was coming all the way down into the red. So that's not coming down nearly as far, but it is not staying at 14 like I would like it to. Yeah, I think I need to just plan on in the future running a higher amp alternator for sure, but I could already tell a huge difference in this, dude. Just having the new alternator and a new battery in there. Definitely a big difference. Turn the blinker on. Yeah, see, I have everything on and the light isn't doing that blinking thing anymore. I have LEDs down here. It's the easiest way to see it. They normally flutter whenever I have everything on, and then I hit the blinker, that light was doing I showed it to you guys, but definitely an improvement, but it's not perfect. Though realistically, I'm never really running everything all at one time unless we are out on a trail or something, of course. But for everyday driving, this is definitely going to be a lot better, but we do need to upgrade the alternator, I would say, for sure. But that is doing a lot better than what it was. Like I said, it was buried all the way down there into that orange, dude. Like hitting 9 volts. All right, so I have some ginormous freaking wire here. I was just looking up what this big 3 conversion is. I've never done a big 3 conversion, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that to the Blazer right now. So a big 3 is in stereo systems. If you're running less than 1,000 watts, they recommend you to run a 4 AWG or 4 gauge, I don't know, wire. And it's the wire going from your battery to your alternator, and then your ground on your battery, upgrade that, and then the ground on the engine, they want you to upgrade that. And if it's over 1,000 watt system, then you want to go to a 0-aught or a 1 gauge wire for all 3. For the power wire going from alternator to battery, ground from battery to chassis, and then ground from engine to chassis. So I have this. I don't know exactly what gauge this is, but it's ginormous. I cut this end open to see what the condition of the copper wire was inside of there, because I noticed on this side it's not in great condition. This was actually the power wire that was on Josh's car years ago when he brought his car here, and I had to pull the B20 out of his car and put it into that hatch. Basically the entire what was remaining of the car, he was like, you can just scrap it, throw it away or whatever. So I kind of pulled a few things out of it that was, you know, worth keeping rather than throwing away, and this was one of them. This was his power wire for his amp that he had on his car at that time. So huge shout out to Josh, dog. I appreciate you, man. You are supplying the wire for our big 3 upgrade today. Also, whenever I first started this thing, I forgot to plug that in. I don't know what that thing is. I had to look it up, see what it is, but I forgot to plug that in. I have a check engine light on now. So it's probably gonna take a couple drive cycles for the computer to learn that, hey, it's plugged back in. So if you see the check engine light, but anyhow, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, dude, I've got to be able to get this better than this. So AC on, fans on, rear lights on, front lights on, DRLs on, absolutely everything on. And you can see that that thing just drops down. So I want to see if just doing the big 3 upgrade, if we could potentially make an improvement on that. It is definitely better than what it was. I do not regret putting a new alternator and a new battery in this thing, because it definitely made it a lot better, and it definitely starts a lot easier now. But I'm gonna back up here some, give us some more room. I need to flip my bench around because my vise is on the other end over there. My bench needs all new tires. All 4 of them are blown. They're Harbor Freight casters, but these are the tires that take tubes, you know, so they're all blown. I need to get some of those hard rubber ones, so I don't have to worry about that no more. Now, I really don't know if I have enough connectors, crimp ends to do this, but try to get as far as I can. Dude, I gotta tell you guys, one of the best things I ever purchased for myself is this hydraulic wire crimper. This thing has made crimping wires so much better. Oh, looks like Braven bent my damn vise. Nice. Good job, Braven. Alright, first connector is crimped on there, so focus, man. Focus. There you go. Yeah, that hydraulic crimper, boy, that thing crimps. Okay, let me tell you what. Anyhow, now I'm gonna get a length. So this is gonna be from the alternator to the battery. And what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is just go ahead and stack them, because I've got plenty enough room on there. Instead of taking the factory one off, I'm just gonna add that one on there with it. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. Is there anything wrong with that? So I'm gonna add that to the alternator and then over to the battery. And then I figured I'll add the same with the ground. Just add one on here and then run it down, like bolt it to the frame somewhere. And then from that same spot, I'll run over and bolt it to the engine somewhere. So there we go. We're upgrading the grounds, and then we're stacking it on top rather than taking what's on there off, because that would be harder. I really don't want to screw up all the factory wiring, the battery wires and stuff, because that thing is actually, the one coming from the alternator is actually going in, and they're both connected into one, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to undo that. I'll just leave it. Anyhow, I got one on there, so now I just got to get the length. Something that's going to route nice and clean from the alternator stud over to the battery. Right after lighting my damn mosquito repellent, bro. They're so ridiculous right now. Oh my God, I'm getting lit up. Alright, there's our alternator wire. The loom that I have is actually way too big for this, but it's the only loom that I have left, so it is what it is. It's not the best looking thing because of how saggy or how big it is or whatever, but at least it's going to add a little extra layer of protection. It only has to go from the battery. It just does one little loop over here to the alternator. It's nothing crazy, so at least what I'm mostly worried about are these connectors are crimped on there nice and strong, and I have something protecting them from arcing out on anything. So I'm going to get this slapped on, and then we got to figure out where to put a ground. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this ground so I don't arc out on anything while we're trying to route that thing over there. Just to give you guys a really quick size reference, right now the charge cable is that big. That's the size of it, and we are going to this size. So you can see it's definitely a much larger cable, and plus we are adding it on top of this, so that should most certainly move some current significantly more. Alright, so we've got now a very large power cable running from the alternator, and it's running down, and it runs with the factory wire. Up here connects to the battery, and then I've also made another ground. I have connected directly to the ground on the battery. I didn't even put loom on this one because I really don't like the way that loom is sitting on the wire. Plus this wire has a really thick like plastic protecting it. But anyhow, I grounded it to the engine right there. And before you put it in the comments, I know you're supposed to run a ground from the battery to basically the frame, to the chassis, and then from the engine to the chassis. But I ran out of connectors. What I was gonna do was go from the battery to right here where the alternator bolts up, where I went, and then I was gonna put another one off of this down to the frame. I figured that would be good, but unfortunately I ran out of the size connectors I need. All the rest of them, all the little crimp connectors, are all way too small. So, but let's go ahead and try it. Let's see how it does now. Let's see if we at least made an improvement with the one alternator wire and at least the one larger ground going to, which I think is probably good, that it's going directly to the alternator bracket. I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, you know what? I unplugged that thing again. I'm gonna plug that thing back in. Jesus. I keep doing that, dude. I keep unplugging this thing and forgetting to plug it back in. I think it goes under the cable's bow and put this little guy on there. Just like that. Alright, now let's try it. Alright, so now turn everything on. We got AC, we got the fans, we got rear lights, front lights, DRLs, let's just do it all and kick the blinker on. Yeah, now look at it. It's still sitting a little bit before underneath the 14, but if I rev it up, it's coming all the way up to 14, and that's with everything on. So that definitely made a huge improvement, buddy. And that's with everything I can give it, man. We got the blinker, we got the rear lights, front lights, DRLs, both fans on, air conditioning's on. I guess I'm definitely a believer in the big three, though I want to do it the correct way. I need to get some more crimp connectors, and I gotta add another one going from the frame to the battery, and then from the body down. I'll probably just take that one that I made off that goes to the battery to the engine and just make one. Dude, really put in the comments. I think that's fine, going from the battery to the engine, and then I'll add one from the engine down to the chassis, maybe another one from the battery down to the chassis. I don't know. I'm just gonna add a couple more grounds to it because this definitely made a huge difference just doing all of that. Yeah, dude, and it's got a brand new battery and a brand new alternator that I do now have lifetime warranty on, so I am stoked. It always does feel good whenever you make a little bit of an improvement, even if it is something small. This is gonna be huge and gives you a little bit more confidence whenever we're headed out to the middle of nowhere to go camping or fishing or whatever it is. But anyhow, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do smash the like button. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. That's kind of what it is I wanted to get done today, so I accomplished my goal. Later.